If you were a high school girl in Augusta, Georgia in the 1870s, your educational opportunities were limited. You might be able to hire a private tutor. You might be able to go to a private academy. But Emily Tubman changed all that. In 1874, Mrs. Tubman, perhaps Augusta's greatest all-time benefactor, purchased a small Christian church building on Reynolds Street for $12,000 and gave it to the Board of Education to be used as a high school for girls. The school board moved the Neely Institute into the facility, renamed it for their new benefactor, and for the next 7 decades, Tubman was where many of Augusta's young women were educated. For 40 years, the girls were taught here, in a building that once stood at 711 Reynolds Street. The school seems to have been popular from the beginning. Indeed, it soon established a place in the affection of the city that made Tubman girls synonymous with charm school. The first faculty consisted of 1 male and 1 female. In 1877, the first class of 6 girls was graduated. They had completed with satisfaction to those in authority a 3-year course. The annual commencements were events that always packed the Grand Opera House to the doors. The sweet girl graduate was annually written up in the local papers as a vision of loveliness. What did the Tubman girls study? Just about everything. The first tier studied arithmetic, spelling, and defining, Latin or French, rhetoric, natural philosophy, penmanship, reading, and history. The second tier studied arithmetic, algebra, synonyms, Latin or French, natural philosophy, physical geography, penmanship, reading, and history. The third tier studied algebra, Latin or French, English literature, physical geography, chemistry, astronomy, penmanship, reading, history, and critical course parsing. When the Great Fire of 1916 burned down Tubman School here, a new one was built out on Walton Way, designed by Augusta's premier architect, Lloyd Preacher. It was used as a girls' school until 1950, when Richmond Academy decided to become co-ed and let the girls join. For years, the school was run by its lone male figure, legendary principal and educator T. Harry Garrett. In fact, the school's yearbook was named Maids and a Man in honor of Mr. Garrett. And then there was Minerva. Minerva was the helmet-wearing, sword-wielding embodiment of the Roman goddess of knowledge. A large statue of her stood in the lobby of the Tubman School. There are references of her in newspaper articles and even a photo from the first day of school in 1943 showing 2 young women standing beside her. And she became a part of the former school's legend. Roman goddess statues went out of vogue in public education in the 1960s, and the school system auctioned off this part of its history. In 2009, a group of Tubman alumni asked me if I could find Minerva. I traced her through an auction of surplus property, to a Clinton, South Carolina antique store, to a storage facility outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, where a family that had adopted her assured me that she was well taken care of. For its part, when Richmond Academy went co-ed in 1950, Tubman became a middle school. Today, it has been handsomely refurbished and is nearing its first century, now as an alternative school. It's all still here. The schoolhouse still stands. The old statue still exists. And the Tubman girls remain a legend of Augusta's unique history.